So today we get to start our review of We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers. It was a decently lengthy read, I will say that.
Yeah.
But I was immediately blown away by the introduction. Like just the introduction, straight off the bat, was like, boom, money is a source of power. And some of that power that it offers us is emotional, like confidence, and that we as women have been kind of held back from that power for so long because we've had such a late start to money management compared to men.
Right. Yeah. The part like you said, the introduction just hit, and I like that one of the little things that she had in there is we are allowed to be ambitious for ambition's sake, unapologetically.
No excuses. We don't need to explain ourselves and our desires. Like, why do you want to be ambitious? Why do you want to take on this challenge? Why do you want to be a millionaire? I don't have to explain to you why I want to be a millionaire.
Right.
Like unapologetic. I can do this and I can be strong and in control of money and my power.
Yep.
And not have to apologize. Because I think we feel so guilty as women with money. We've been taught guilt.
Right. I mean, up until I had been doing some research and stuff like that, and I actually saw just a short video the other day of I don't remember who it was. It was maybe even Cyndi Lauper. She was saying that up until even into the 1970s, women were not even allowed to have a credit card without their husband or father signing for them.
Yeah. No bank accounts.
Nothing.
No credit cards. We only recently were able to actually own land. We had to fight for the right to own the land after our husbands or male counterparts died, because usually it went to the next man. But like she mentioned in here that our rules for playing and winning the game of success aren't the same as men, and doing our own thing as women is what works.
Yeah.
So it's a different game. Like, we're both playing the money game, men and women, all genders, we're all playing a money game. But the way we have to play it differs because of the advantages or the disadvantages that each gender receives.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that she, like, this introduction was just like, highlight everything. My whole page is just green,
Right.
It's time for all of us to make a lot more money. And by doing so, we'll literally spread our wealth around and take our power and agency back and ultimately change the world. We have been taught to give away key resources. That's a different word for me. Routinely doesn't even sound like a real word.
Routinely.
Forfeit our independence, our time, our power, our success, and we tolerate bullshit. We feel guilty advocating for our own needs in our home, at work, in politics, and in our control of money. It's time for us to take back that power, because imagine all of the good that we could be doing.
Right.
All the changes we could actually make for the better if we had the resources, the funds, the power, the confidence even. I think that's a big one.
Yeah.
It's about feeling like $1 million every day, because when you feel like $1 million, you are more likely to earn $1 million, because it's about our daily habits and our beliefs. I know that when I wake up and I'm like immediately like, ugh, it sets the tone for the whole day.
Right.
And so if we wake up and go like, today's $1 million day, because it is. I mean, if you think about how little time we actually have, how like millionaires on their deathbeds would spend $1 million a day if it meant that they could live another day.
Right.
So every day is $1 million day. Okay. So that introduction, just before we even started, it really kind of reminded us as women that we've been at a disadvantage with our mindset around money, and it's time to reclaim it, and we deserve to reclaim it.
Right. Here in chapter 1, she, starts off by talking about her childhood and where she grew up and the worst part of town, and having to go through all of that and having to work when she was 14 to try and support her family and going through that. And then as it gets a little further in, she talks about how financial stability scared her because she was in a place in her mind that she worried that if she had that money, she would just lose it. She would blow it or lose it or whatever. And so she says in here, before you can start to build wealth, you have to heal your relationship with money.
Mm.
So, I mean, I think we all have some kind of, depending on how you're raised and how you've grown up, we all have an issue with money, not having it. So when you do have it, what do you do with it?
Yeah, you get a little scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
I liked in this part where she mentioned the women in her lives that she thought were rich at a younger age, when she was observing them as, I believe, like a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, these people I thought were just exceptionally rich, right? And one of them, Alana, a 12-year-old Jewish girl, they had Pop-Tarts, they had ice cream sandwiches, cracker sandwiches, cheese or peanut butter, and they had all the snack options, freaking frozen pizza bagels, egg rolls, right? Everything that she wanted from the grocery store, but on a poor budget was not able to enjoy. She had a freaking game room, a little playroom, and a nice big TV and so many toys. And she just recalls this little girl, just being so rich, right? And I think, man, I would have thought that way too.
Right.
Because we didn't come from a lot of money. Now, I never recall being hungry. I never knew that you went without food or that you were eating, from our plates, from what was remainder. I never knew that. And I'm like so thankful of that, because you hid it from us so well, and we didn't have to worry about that. So that's huge.
So it wasn't your job to worry about it.
Yeah. But it just goes to show, like, this little girl, Alana, she had, toys and all these snack options and whatnot. And they probably weren't millionaires. They probably weren't really all that rich, but they were wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And that they could give everything to their child without, So it was just like, man, I would have thought that too. And then I look at life today, right? And how I've been able to set up my family and the big room that my kids have and all the toys that they have and the big TVs and all the comfort. And they've got snacks galore in the cabinet. And I'm like, I bet they feel wealthy too.
Mm-hmm.
I bet they feel that. And I felt that way, even though it wasn't the case. I felt pretty wealthy growing up. And it may have been comparatively that my friends were not as well off. But we had Nintendo 64 and none of our friends did. We had a big screen TV that was huge in the back. We had to stick in the corner because back then they were giant. But none of my friends had the big TV. And I know that we weren't wealthy, but I felt wealthy. And so it's like, let's just shift our mindset about money.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And, part of one of the things that I love that she says, you might tell yourselves money's not that important to me. I doubt that. You didn't pick up the book because money's not important to you.
Right? Money is important. I get it's not everything. It's not,
right.
The saying that money doesn't buy happiness. Well, it depends on how you spend it.
Right.
It depends on how you spend it, because if you spend that money buying food for a family who's been struggling to eat, that buys happiness. It may not be your happiness, but the happiness of others. And like she had said, the more wealth you have, the more positive impact you can make on the world.
Right. Yep.
I liked when she said that thinking negative thoughts is a form of self-sabotage that keeps you safe and therefore stagnant. But that she recognized that the fears in her head were like a different voice, like a different person. And I don't know where I had seen this from. And I wish I could give credit because I don't know who I had seen it from, but it was this video, and I think it may have been hers, where they said, like, close your eyes and say hello in your head. Hello, 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 hello. It's a different voice than yours. It's not your voice. It's a different voice than yours. It's a different voice. It's not your voice. It's a different voice. Now you have some control over it. You can make it say hello because you can say hello, 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 right? But you don't have full control over it because this voice sometimes just talks to you and is like, hey, you kind of suck. I don't know if you know this, but you suck. Suck. And it just seeps
right.
the negativity. And then she talked about allowing herself to try on these thoughts, allowing them to come in and recognizing they're not necessarily her thoughts. But she can test them out and see if they feel like they resonate with her and then take up that identity.
Yeah, I love how she calls these. She calls them the broke ass thoughts.
Broke ass thoughts?
And then I like that she puts the whole thing in there and a whole chart. Here's a broke ass thought, but here's the $1 million thought to replace that.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I love that broke ass thought.
Broke ass thought. Tell you what, I highlighted the ones that, I needed to embody. Instead of saying, I'll never get out of debt, because, I'm a college girl. We're going for our master's in psychology. Okay. Instead of saying I'll never get out of debt, I am capable of changing my situation. You have ways to utilize things. Now you could get stuck in the same routine and not look for solutions, or you could find a solution that makes it just even a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yep.
Making money is hard. There are an infinite number of ways to make money. There's so many ways to make money. It's not hard. What's hard is being uncomfortable and stepping into the roles needed to make the money.
Right.
I'm not good with money. Building wealth is a skill that I can learn. I'm not good with money yet because I wasn't taught. They didn't teach me that in school.
Right.
Like, I didn't know. They didn't teach you how to buy a home. They didn't teach you about getting a car loan or car insurance. They didn't teach me that. So it's like, of course I'm not good with it. I'm not experienced in it. I don't have the knowledge yet. Yet. That's a big one. I'm too tired to make money. Making money is energizing. Damn freaking right it is. When that money comes into your bank, you're like, ooh, let's go. Let's go. So I know now it's game on. I'm not smart, creative, genius, or entrepreneurial enough to make a lot of money. Okay, no, there are plenty of stupid people who are super rich.
Right.
If they can be rich and that stupid, then I can be rich and this smart. These are all like thoughts that, can have been passed down by society.
Mm-hmm.
Go to work, you work your 9 to 5, you come home, you relax because you're tired.
Yep.
Seriously. So chapter 1, all about changing our mindset around it, really taking a different perspective regarding money and our $1 million thoughts and our $1 million days.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that she just brings, immediately takes it into like, okay, you have to stop this. And this is what you need to replace it with. Yeah. Because that's, when people immediately start talking about building wealth, they tell themselves all these things. And that's the first thought. So yeah, in this book, I like how she addresses that first.
Immediately, let's get those concerns out of the way. Yeah, these thoughts are keeping you back. They're making you small. Let's change that.
Yep.
So, chapter 2, we get into our history of money, where we go through the years of women being kept broke by the government. Years of it all. The Married Women's Property Act in 1848 granted us the right to receive inheritance in our own name for the properties.
Yep.
That's nice. 1848. That wasn't that long ago.
Right? Wasn't that, it was less than 100 years ago?
Yeah.
No, less than 200 years ago. Sorry.
200 years ago. Math is hard.
Math is hard.
Because we were kept back. So it's not our fault. It's the government. It's the government did it. Yeah, but like how much it's kept people back. And then I highlighted this part. She said, hey, you just read a whole bunch of depressing shit. And it might be sending you into a spiral of despair or perhaps a fit of rage. Why not take a moment for some $1 million self-care? Here are some fun things you can do. And then she lists a couple of things to take a break, like petting a cat, snuggle a baby.
Yeah. And I like how she also pointed out that when some of these laws were passed, it took a while to navigate through that because they still put things in place that made it difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the right to vote in 1920, it became unconstitutional to deny women the right to vote. However, we still had to navigate a variety of state voting laws that would keep you from voting based upon your age, citizenship, residency, mental competence, and more.
Yeah. Mental competence. Let's just say they were putting women into mental asylums for being poor social company at that time. Okay, let's be clear. Mental competence. That's a easy way. Like you're a woman wanting this. You're not mentally competent, obviously. That's an easy way to reject it.
Well, they were putting women in hospitals for, that time of the month because they were hysterical. They were just out of their minds. They were crazy.
Me too. Lock me up, baby. But then they would leave them there. You get locked up for reading a book. For reading a book that wasn't the Bible. And even then, if you read the Bible too passionately, you could be put up.
It was back then, it was the Bible or just some fluff. Just some, like a children's story. You could read a children's story or you could read the Bible, but don't you dare pick up a book like a law book and read it because there was something wrong with you.
Well, clearly you're insane and need to be locked up. You cute little pretty headed thing thinking you can read law. Let's put you in the asylum. And it just goes to show, like she mentioned here, cisgender straight white men have had centuries to build wealth, business, political power, and so on. Women have only had 50 years. And already we have women millionaires and billionaires and presidential candidates.
Yep.
It took you guys centuries. We have 50 years. So it might be, like she says, it goes to show how powerful we are in spite of the many ways our government has been complicit in holding us back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I like it comes in here and it talks about the whole fair credit, the credit card, the bank account. So it says this means, for me, this means that my mother and grandmother weren't allowed to have their own bank accounts before then. They couldn't start a business, they couldn't get higher education, make large purchases like a car, they couldn't get a loan, anything without the consent of a man.
Yeah. And it's really surprising considering how strong-willed the women in our family are. From being in really small town, Midwest Missouri, to come out with that kind of oomph. And that, let's just do it. And we pave our own way. But we've been doing that since our 15th great grandmother, who immigrated here from Scotland and was the matriarch of her own settlement. Mm-hmm. So we've had strong, powerful women within our family, but society has been trying to keep us down for so long. They've been trying to tell us, sit down, be quiet, let the men have the power. You guys are just trophies, I suppose. And I'm just so sick of that mentality. We've been taught to be shameful of wanting to be rich. You want to be rich, you're a gold digger.
Right.
You're only out for it for the inappropriate reason. A man who wants to be rich, that's aspiring. A woman who wants to be rich, that's laughable, is what it's felt like. And then when we make mistakes because we're just learning, because we've not been taught, they rub it in our faces, and then it feels even more shameful, more guilty, and so we retract a bit. So I really liked how she mentioned that it's time to forgive ourselves.
Right. Yeah. Forgive ourselves for thinking that we're not good with this. We can't do this. Right. It's only been, what is it now? 60 some odd years that we've had access to all of this, and it's a uphill climb.
Yeah. And a lot of that's within ourselves too, that we have to just, like chapter 1 said, reframe ourselves. And now we need to forgive ourselves. Take notice that it's not our fault. We've not been taught. We've not been taught. Chapter 3, $1 million decisions. There's broke ass decisions and $1 million decisions. Freaking love those. $1 million decision. A $1 million decision is one that creates time and energy, frees up mental space, reduces piddly shit, and creates space for the stuff that matters, allows you to feel strong, secure, and free, and creates options. That sounds like a good freaking decision. Those were all positive things. Freeing up your mental space, reduces piddly shit, quit doing everything. We have to do less. Millionaires do less. They don't do all of the work. They have people who do a lot of the work for them. They are the visionaries and the ideas and the person who sets it into action with a team generally behind them.
Yeah.
You know, some of these broke ass decisions, your car broke down and you take it to the mechanic to fix it for the third time this year. Or you can head to the dealer, trade it in for a reliable certified pre-owned car because time is money.
Yeah. I like that she didn't put in there, you have to go buy this brand new BMW. No, just something that's reliable, certified, pre-owned.
Right. Because if you think about it, every time your car breaks down, you're losing time. Time is money. And you're adding in stress again. And now you don't feel like you can trust your car. It's just a matter of time before it breaks down again. And then you have to go through this whole cycle of it's ruined my day. It's ruined my week. It's taken more money out of my bank account that was unexpected.
Well, and not only that, when you have a very unreliable car, you rethink things that you would normally go do.
Yes.
I can't take this trip to this conference because my car is not going to make it. Yeah. It's going to break down. I know it is. And it's going to cost me more money and I'll be stuck in the middle of nowhere.
That's a good point. And if we want to have that millionaire life, that includes enjoying life and getting to enjoy what we want to enjoy and the experiences and being able to travel or go to the conferences or go to the concerts with friends. And you want to do that in a way that is stress-free, hopefully. So maybe with a car that's not going to break down. Let's see here. Your childhood trauma is getting in the way of your happiness, but you think you can't afford therapy, so you do nothing about it. Or you understand that your mental health is essential to your well-being and wealth, so you do some research, find a local therapist that offers a sliding scale, and you also borrow a few books on trauma from the library. Yep. So there are ways to do things that aren't going to cost you a ton of money, but get you in the right direction. Right. Because if you work on your mental health and your wellness and your well-being, it does impact your wealth because now you feel more focused, more in control of your thoughts and your emotions. You have someone you can bring your problems to that you know is not going to necessarily judge you. And that is going to accelerate your success versus staying with the trauma and just being like, well, I don't have the money to be fixed, so I guess I'm broken. Come on, we got duct tape. Let's do something.
Right?
Let's get creative here. Let's see. Why women make bad moves. One of the founders of social cognitive neuroscience says that the importance of social connection is so strong that when we are rejected or experience other social pain, our brains hurt in the same way that they do physical pain.
Yeah. Well, and it says the first bad move is that we always want to be liked by everyone. But that's been so ingrained in us that you have to be the person that everyone likes. You have to be amiable.
Well, it's because back then they would lock you up in the insane asylum. See, that poor social concept. You can't. Yeah, it has been like we want to be liked. I know I want to be liked because I like the way it feels when I'm liked. And I like the way it feels when I like other people. So of course we want that. We don't want to feel like people don't like us, but here's the problem. There's going to be people who do not like you, no matter what you do, no matter how amazing of a person you are, no matter how much money you make, no matter how many lives you impact, there's going to be people that don't like you. You could be Taylor Swift. You could be Taylor Swift, and an entire political party could dislike you over a conspiracy theory. Stupid. billionaire, making impact on tons of women and future women voters. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
The positive impact that she has had on women voters is insane. When she said, hey, just go register to get voted, she didn't say go vote for XYZ. Just go register. Registration shot up insanely. She has that kind of positive impact. And even with that kind of positive impact, there's people that don't like her.
Yep.
So no matter what you do, no matter how much money you have, how much impact you're making that's positive, there are going to be people that don't like you. So we need to kind of set that desire of wanting to be liked by everyone aside and say, we don't need that. We don't need to be liked by everyone. We just need to be liked by ourselves and what we're doing with our lives.
This next little section that she talked about, the second bad move, is if we hang out with people who are making those broke-ass decisions. Reading this, it brought me back to the previous book.
Mm-hmm. Find your people.
Find your people. And that's what she says. You have to evaluate and think about your friends. And are they helping you, lifting you, and you're lifting them, or are they dragging you down, or what? And one of her clients, she said, well, this is something you have to do. And she goes, oh, I don't have that problem. All my clients have that problem. I don't, because I do an annual review of my friends.
Smart.
It's like, you do what? So she told her, how she does her friends review. Was my friend there for me this year? Did we do anything that would be bonding? Do they use our time together to complain about her life and then does nothing about it? Do we have similar interests? Do we look forward to spending time together? Do I feel energized or drained after spending time with her?
Good questions.
Right. All good questions. So it's one thing, but I think she didn't put in there, but does she offer that same thing in return to her friend? I'm sure she does, because if she's that adamant about it, then you realize it's not just one person putting forth all the effort, it's both of you. And if neither of you are committed to that kind of friendship, then yeah, it's time to cut the friendship.
I think she and I are very similar in that we probably just got tired of being the ones to do all the effort.
Right.
And so it became, is the effort I'm putting forward in this relationship, this friendship, is this effort actually benefiting everybody involved?
Right.
Or is it, is it just taking more time and energy from me that I could be placing in other things that are moving my life positively forward? Yep. And people change. It's okay that people change. Every year, I'm not the same person I was 2 years, 5 years, 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. The people I had as friends 10 years ago, they're not friends now because I have grown and I have changed and evolved. And so now the friends that I have around me are powerful, positive, professional women that encourage me to chase after my entrepreneurial dreams.
Yep.
But I did like how it connected with find your people.
Right. Yeah.
I liked, and she gave a formula for making those $1 million decisions. And it's, what do you want? What are the shoulds operating here? Is your want a should in disguise? What precise action will you take to move you in the direction of your want? What does your body feel about taking that action? She says, close your eyes and imagine that you've accomplished it. How does it feel? Because your body's not going to lie to you. Mm-hmm. If you close your eyes and you imagine you're on stage speaking to thousands of people, you've finally embodied speaker identity and you are sharing your wealth of knowledge with thousands of people. How does that feel? Does it feel good? Does it feel terrifying? Like, oh my God, I do not want that. Like your body will tell you. How will this decision or direction lead to more for you? Focus on more rather than the cost, such as more time, more money, more effort,
Yep.
more connections. I had this recently because I joined a podcast mastermind, and it was a costly put down, but I'm like, okay, but what am I getting out of this? I'm getting more knowledge about this that I can apply to my other clients. I'm getting more experience in putting this into application, and I'm getting more connections, more relationships, because I have to be live in this. I have to be on camera talking to people and growing as a community. So I'm building connections and relationships with people. And that more is like, that is worth it.
Right.
And so that's how you make $1 million decisions. You go, is this what I want? Do I want to learn about podcasting? Yeah. Okay. Is it a should? Should I learn about podcasting, or do I really want to? No, I could easily hand off podcasting to another person. I can have my clients find other people to run their podcasting, but I want to do this. So it's not a should for me. It's I want this because I want the experience. That way I can teach other people. And then the action, what actions will I take? Well, I'll be live. I'll make sure to show up. I'll do the work. I'll put in the effort. Right? How's my body feel? It's a little nervous because I have to get on live with people, but I'm excited. I get excited about like, oh, I'm excited that I'm going to join this group. And then the more is it's more connections, more relationships, more opportunities.
Right.
Which could eventually lead to giving me more time, more money.
Yep.
And then regardless of your current environment, friend circle, or your desire to be liked, you can start making better decisions and you can promote yourself to a better life.
Yep.
So what are some positive money mindset type things that you can utilize?
Just healing my history with money, my mindset about it. It's got to be the main focus, because I didn't always have it easy, and so it's a whole mindset of, okay, I've got this money now, I got to spend it because I'm not going to have any. So
Yeah.
But then you got this money, now you spent it, now you don't have any.
Yeah. And a lot of that too is, it's the economy. It's not great right now. And a lot of that money goes to bills and food. And so you get paid and then it immediately goes out the window. And it's just being easier on ourselves in this process and how we're approaching it, just knowing, like, giving us a little bit of, space and acknowledgement that we're just starting, we're just learning. We're okay to make mistakes. We're going to make mistakes. We have made mistakes, but there are things that we can do to make it better by changing our mindset.
Right.
Instead of our car breaking down a million times, we can go, well, we can just go get a pre-owned and one that's more reliable. And I don't have the stress of this.
Yep.
That was an awesome first start. I'm ready for next week.
Yeah.